I'm talking to Bill Sims from the Bill Sims Company, and also founder of the Green Beans and Ice Cream Company based out of South Carolina. Bill, today I'd like to talk to you about this exciting new initiative, the Global Safety Institute. Bill, what's the background to this institute?
Well, this is an idea that I've been kind of kicking around the different pieces for probably 4 or 5 years, and there are probably 6 to 8 different prongs behind the institute, and I guess they all just sort of came together one day when I was talking to Ben Wilson, and he said, "Mate, I've got this and this and this, and we put that with that," and I said, "Wow, yep, you're right." And so I think the fundamental idea behind Global Safety Institute is a fairly simple one. If we go back to 1968, when J.D. Powers and Associates was formed here in the United States, and the idea was that anything that is measured improves. And so what he started to do was survey customers who were taking delivery of new vehicles and ask them how many defects they were encountering. So where we are today is that if you make cars, at least in the United States, the J.D. Powers Quality Award is something you covet and you want to be number 1, definitely not number 5 or number 10. And so I think what the lesson we learned from that is that anything measured improves, as I said earlier. So that's the opportunity. So, if you think about it, the problem then, and that's kind of summed up here in the link for the problem, is while we've done a great job over time measuring quality and translating that to consumer demand in the marketplace, we've done a really poor job of measuring safety. There is no J.D. Powers of safety. And that's really what Global Safety Institute is all about. It's about identifying within each industry the best of the best from a leading indicator standpoint rather than a lagging. And then being able to, in an organized, structured way, share that safety DNA with the rest of the safety community around the world to help everyone get better quicker. And I think that's probably half of the mission of Global Safety Institute. Now, there's another half of that, which probably has 4 or 5 more prongs to it.
Bill, we look at the industry and also government's role within regulating safety. How is the Global Safety Institute different to other similar associations and bodies?
What I think I would say makes Global Safety Institute unique is number one, instead of being a very broad association with many, many different angles on safety, it's really about being a laser beam focused on how do we find what safety excellence looks like from a leadership behavior standpoint, a culture standpoint, and then how do we replicate that? And there just aren't any good ways to do it. But it's really just number one about figuring out what excellence is, inspiring others to achieve, to get better, and giving them the tools to do that. And then, of course, the rest of the mission is really around the idea that we need to create some understanding at Wall Street and the major financial markets that, safety really is a byproduct of how well we run the company. So, rather than rely on 2 questions on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index for safety, we need to have a much more robust way to measure the health of a company internally through the Global Safety Index. And so I think that's one component, it's helping Wall Street get on board with this. Another component is funding research. There's some really great research projects that we'd like to see done that we aim to raise funding for. And again, the mission there is to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that safety has a strong return, much larger than we've perhaps measured it in the ways to date, and help communicate that up to C-level leadership. And a third prong is creating an awareness in the global consumer for what the safety score is in major products. So I think that is really kind of where we think about it's all going with ISO 45001 and XSL. we think there's a 5-year ramp up here. This is a marathon, not a sprint, but we believe that we can assist and support the effort to put safety on an equal footing with quality where it should be. We know profits and production are always going to get a lot of attention, but it's time now to and quality, right? But it's time now to put safety on an equal par, because in fairness, if you focus on safety, you'll get the other things.
So, Bill, how would an organisation or industry association or even a union, how do they engage with the Global Safety Institute?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You just come to the website, hit the contact button, and we'll set up a little time to explain the different ways that can be worked together. I think from a labor union perspective, there's a different set of synergies than, let's say, a management team. Insurance companies have another set of reasons. I think everyone can play a part in this endeavor. I would say that give you a more simple, granular example that might be helpful. So, let's just take, for instance, one company in the United States, Subaru, who last time I checked, have probably one of the safest worker safety scores there is. I believe they're less than 1 TRIR, so that means they hurt one worker every year out of 100. And we'll contrast that to some other firms, some European firms that might have scores of 15 workers out of 100 get hurt every year. So why the difference? Why can one company produce and injure one worker out of 100 and another hurts 15? Well, there's got to be some differences. And so our idea would be to identify the best of the best and utilize Global Safety Index to measure leading indicator behaviors and culture, map their safety DNA, present them with the Global Safety Institute Award for 1 year, which gives them certain benefits and permissions that will help them compete more effectively in the marketplace, especially with the millennial consumer. And once we have that safety DNA, then our goal would be to provide it to those other members of the auto manufacturing industry that want to get better and don't really have ways to effectively benchmark and get better fast enough. So I think that's from a company's perspective, the way they participate. Their data is secure, it's anonymous, it's confidential. So it's a shared system that's protected. If you're an association, maybe we were just talking with the Western Pulp and Paper Association the other day. It seems that everybody has a different way of measuring their safety performance. This company says we're number one. This company says, no, we're number one. And it struck me as odd. It'd be a bit like going to church and trying to sing the same song, but everybody has a different hymn book, right? It's not very effective. And so what this is all about is saying, look, guys, we're going to give everybody the same hymn book, the same playbook, utilizing the tool Global Safety Index. And now we can all be measuring for the same variables, and we can begin to start figuring out, well, what are the levers that really make the biggest difference in your organization and help us all get better quicker? At the end of the day, while we compete in the marketplace, I think everyone would agree, that safety is not a place where we compete. And it's also a place where leaders and workers, management, labor, know they have to work together. The price of doing this is more people dying, and we don't have time for that. So it's a place to put aside differences and a place to come together around one common theme that everyone can agree on, and that is saving human lives, keeping people from getting hurt.
Asking those who are watching and listening to this today to really go to the globalsafetyinstitute.org to learn more about this exciting opportunity. Bill, thank you very much for today. Look forward to connecting with you soon and learning more about in the near future how the Global Safety Institute is traveling. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, buddy. See you later.